Hello and welcome back to my channel. Sorry for not uploading for like 2 months, I'm pretty sure. I've had lots of ideas for videos I want to make, however I've just not really had the time and also the motivation. Basically I just like hate every video I've uploaded. So that's just making me not want to make any new ones just because like I'm just not used to this yet. I don't really have a personality on camera. I have one in real life, I think, but on camera it's just really hard to like be interesting, I guess. I don't know what it is. So I just find myself like sitting here talking about a book and then moving on to the next one without actually being that entertaining. So I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm trying to like be more entertaining. I don't know how, but I don't know. I'll work it out. So I just decided to do a little Q&A even though like no one asked for it. So I asked I've asked people to ask me questions on my TikTok and my Instagram. They're linked in the description. And I got about like 30-ish questions, so I don't know if I'll be able to answer them all. However, I'll try and get through a decent amount of them. So yeah, let's just get started. So the first question is, what is your most disappointing read of 2020? And I can think of a few, but I'll go for the one that I read most recently, and that's Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. This book is very of its time. It's about werewolves and stuff. I'd also read New Moon recently as well, and I really didn't like that either. So it's just something about werewolves that I just really don't like in books. This is really weird. I gave this 1 star, but I gave The Raven Cycle by the same author, every single one of them 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favourite series. That's why this one was just so disappointing, because I like the author's books, just not this one. But I'm not too surprised. I've owned it for a couple of years and I kind of lost interest in it and just forced myself to read it, so I'm not that surprised, but it was quite disappointing. So a question I got asked a couple of times was how I balance, well, one of them was how I balance book talk with uni, and the other one was how I balance reading with uni. So it's quite hard to do all 3. I can do 2 in one day, but not all 3. All 3 is a bit of a struggle. Obviously I'll do uni every day. I'm not gonna like choose, oh, I'm not gonna show up to my lectures today, so I'll always do my uni. But then sometimes I just don't find the time to make a TikTok, because by the time I'm finished, I live in Scotland, so the sun sets at like 3:30 here, so it's really dark and not good lighting for my TikToks. So I just find it hard to find the motivation. But sometimes if I just think of a wee quick video that I can just make, I'll do that and just upload it to get something out there. So that's quite hard, but reading isn't that bad. Like I always find like an hour or so in the evening to read, and I'm quite a fast reader, so I can get like 100 pages done in that time, which is really good. So yeah, and I guess it's because my uni degree is quite easy so far. Not easy, but like I don't have a lot of work. Like I have friends who are doing like veterinary medicine and engineering and stuff like that. I'm doing history, so like they're doing a lot of work, and then I'm just also because it's online, I'm not exhausted from having to go out, get a train every day and like walk about all day. I just have to go from my room to this room. It's not that hard. So that's why I'm sure in the future when I have to go back into uni, I'll be a lot more tired and find it harder to read. But just now, just because I've just got so much free time, I'm able to read a lot more. So the next question is, do you like having your books organised by colour? And this is yes and no. It's really nice to look at, in my opinion. It's really pretty, but it's hard to maintain. A lot of people dislike colour coordination because the series gets split up, but that doesn't bother me at all. The thing that bothers me is all of these are like full. Like I cannot fit another single book in there with like the wee Funko Pops and everything. It's just too full. So when I buy more blue books, I just don't know where to put them, because I can't fit them in there, but I've not got enough to make another blue shelf. So they kind of just sit at the bottom with the other books, and it's just random colours. It just looks a bit strange. So I'm thinking of reorganising it after Christmas, because I know I'm going to get a few books at Christmas as well. So I'm thinking of doing it by height or genre, but I might do a video of that, reorganising my shelves. But if I don't like it, I'm just going to go back to this. I'm going to take a photo of it all so I can remember where every book was placed and then just put it back if I don't like it. So the next question is, what books have you read more than once? And I don't really reread books that often, but I've done a few for like my favourite books. I'm actually currently rereading my favourite book, A Winter's Promise, and I'm loving it just as much. So I've reread this, well, I'm rereading it. I've reread A Shiver of Snow and Sky. Yeah, again, this is just one of my favourite books. I just sometimes feel in the mood to read my favourite books again, so I do, but not that often, it's every couple of months. But yeah, I love this just as much as the first time as well. So the next question is a fantasy book for people who don't normally read fantasy, and actually I'm going to talk about the book I just put back down. So this is A Shiver of Snow and Sky by Lisa Ledecky, and this is actually my first fantasy book ever, except from like the Maze Runner trilogy when I was like 13. I read this just after I got into reading, and I loved it. It's one of my favourite books. I'm not sure if I just love it because of nostalgia reasons, but it's really, really pretty. It's basically set on this made up island called Skane, and on this island the sky changes colour based on how their like goddess in the sky is feeling. So if it's like green, she's happy. If it's blue, there's like a storm coming. And then if it's red, like it turns at the start of this book, it means there's a plague coming basically. But if you don't like books about plagues, I think you'll still like this because the plague isn't really in it that much. It like takes a turn and it's really pretty, and yeah, and it's really short as well. It's only like 330 pages or something like that. So yeah, and it's a standalone. There is a prequel, but you don't need to read it, and I wouldn't recommend reading it because I really didn't like it. But yeah, this is really good. So the next question is, are there any books that you like the concept of, but it wasn't written the way you like it? So for this, I'm going to say Cinderella is Dead. This was really interesting, and I think a lot of people feel this way about this book. It had such a good premise and concept, however it was not pulled off that well. The writing was really fast paced, but it kind of glossed over a lot of stuff. The ending was really rushed. And I just felt like they could have explored the plot and the characters a bit more. Felt a bit simplistic. I think younger YA readers will really like this, however that's just not what I was expecting when I went into it. So I think I gave it around 2 stars. And from what I've seen, a lot of people actually quite agree with me on this one. But I'm really interested in the author's second book. The cover is so nice, so I'm still thinking of picking that up, and hopefully her writing's improved a wee bit. So the next question is, what keeps you motivated to read so much even if the book isn't too good? And for this, for me, is I don't really DNF books, like I don't give up on them that much. I have a few times, and usually I just unhaul them right away. But that's only a few times, and I do dislike a lot of books that I read. And basically, because I am quite a fast reader, I just like decide to put up with it because like, oh, it's only another hour or so of reading. And if I'm really hating the book, I'll just skim read it. I'm still able to pick up on everything that happens in the book, but I'm just my eyes are going like this as I'm reading because I'm reading so fast. But that's basically what I do, is I just try and read it as fast as possible. Just to get it over with. So the next question is, what is my favourite book written by Alice Oseman? If you don't know, Alice Oseman's one of my favourite authors. I think I've read all of her books except from her short novella This Winter. And my favourite's either Heartstopper, her graphic novel series, or Radio Silence. I think this is like quite a popular answer. I'm pretty sure these are like her most well-loved books. So definitely Radio Silence, that's the one I'd recommend the most. So someone asked how long it took me to collect all my books on my shelves, and I would say probably since I bought this book in January 2018, just over 2 years I'd say. I didn't actually start buying books properly until 2019, I'd say. I think I bought like 8 books in 2018, and then 2019 I probably bought about 50 or 60. Then this year I've bought like 90. It's really bad, but I've read over almost 150 books this year, so I've definitely counteracted the amount of books I've bought with the amount of books I've read, so that's good. But yeah, I've been collecting since mid 2018 I'd say. So another question I've got asked a couple of times is what is my favourite book series, and the book I'm currently rereading, A Winter's Promise. This is book 1 in the Mirror Visitor Quartet. It's a translated French book. I don't know what it is, but I really like books that have been translated from French. I don't know what it is about it. I just really love the writing style. Even though they're two different authors, I've just loved these two French books. But it's a 4-book series. The first 3 books have been translated into English. The 4th one, I don't know when, it hasn't been announced, but I'm guessing around late 2021 or maybe early 2022. It's a long time away since I finished the 3rd book 2 months ago, and I need the 4th book now. But I've explained the plot of this book so many times on my channel, but I'll do it again because I love it so much. It basically follows this world that's been smashed into pieces, and these pieces are called arcs, and they're where people live. They're kind of like their own little planets or countries. And the main character, Ophelia, lives on an arc called Anima. And on Anima, everyone's generally quite friendly, quite nice. They refer to each other as cousins, like they're one big family even though they're not actually related. They just like treat each other really nice. Not really nice, but like better than some other arcs. And she basically gets arranged to be married to this man on another arc called The Pole. And The Pole is supposed to be very dark and like mean. Everyone there's really mean, constantly tricking you. There's like these people called mirages who can like change what you're seeing in front of you. They can change the weather and stuff like that. And also it's kind of based on like Russian politics or something like that. It's really harsh. And she basically has to survive there. And everyone kind of underestimates her at the start. Keeps like looking down on her. Her fiance says, "Oh, you'll never survive." But obviously she does, and she kind of proves them wrong. It's just so good. I love this series so much. The relationship is really hard to get into at the start. I hated the love interest. I thought that she was going to like run away and fall in love with someone else. But no. But you actually do come around on him in the end, and he's probably like my favourite love interest in any book now. They're my favourite couple. I just love them so much. But yeah, I'm rereading it just now, and it's just so good. I love it so much. So someone asked me who my BTS bias is, and I love them all so much, but I'm actually joint biased or double biased with J-Hope and Suga, and then Jin is my bias wrecker, but I just love them all so much. If you can't tell, I like BTS. I've got like the Funko Pops around there, and I actually have Namjoon just chilling there. He falls over a lot, so that's funny. But someone asked me how do I get out of a reading slump, and I'm actually in one just now, and the thing I just decided to do is just reread some of my favourite books, because you're still reading but you're like just a bit more energetic about it because you know what's coming. So yeah, I'd say reread books, or maybe listen to audiobooks, or set yourself a certain amount of time in a day to read. I don't know, like I'm not really in reading slumps that often, so I'm not really sure what to do with myself, but yeah, just reread a favourite book or something. The next question is my favourite book of 2019 and my favourite book of 2020. So my favourite book of 2019 will probably be, I'd probably say The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, which is surprising because that was my another book by her was my most disappointing of 2020. But yeah, 2019, my favourite book is probably The Raven Boys. Yeah, I just love that series. And my favourite book of 2020 is just this one, A Winter's Promise. Every time someone asks me my favourite book, I just whip that out. So someone asked me my favourite genre, and it's definitely fantasy, but like within fantasy, I really like polar fantasy. If you can't tell, like books that are like set in winter or like made up northern countries, things like that. I just really like wintry books. I don't know what it is. And I also like urban fantasies, like fantasy kind of set in the real world, so like a darker shade of magic. Some of it's set in London. The Last Magician is set in New York, things like that I really like. Another question is a book that reminds me of a time in my life or a memory. And basically every book I own, I have this weird thing, I have quite a good memory, it's really weird, where people ask me, oh, when did we do that thing? And then I'll just think of the book I was reading when I did that thing, and then I'll be like, oh, I read that book in July last year, so we did that thing in July, and everyone I know is like, that's weird. So I literally just associate all the books I read with the time I read it. Is really weird. I just have distinct memories. But one that I'm really nostalgic about is maybe Love, Simon, or Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I just remember reading it on like Halloween 2018, while I was supposed to be doing my homework at my desk, and I just whipped out the book and just started reading it. So I feel like that one is just quite vivid in my mind. And for the last question, because I've been talking for ages, is how long do you read in a day, or how much do you read in a day? And it's hard to think. I don't really know. I think it ranges anywhere between not at all to like 3 hours. But on average, maybe say it's about 2 hours. Like I try to read in the afternoon and late at night as well. So yeah, about 2 hours. And because I'm actually like, depending on the book, I could probably get around between 60 and, oh, I don't know, like 100 pages done in an hour. So that's quite good. So yeah, probably not more than 3 hours in a day, because I'll just be exhausted. That is it for the Q&A. It's actually getting quite dark and it's not even 4 o'clock here. So that's fun. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know any other kind of videos you want to see from me, because I just genuinely don't really know. I know I have like ideas what videos to make, but I just don't know what ones people would want to see. I feel like my videos are quite repetitive, where I just sit down, talk about a book, and then move on to the next one. So I feel like that's not very fun for people, but who knows? Because I just watch like some of my favourite booktubers, I just watch anything from them. So I don't know, let me know what kind of videos you like to see. So yeah, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos, if I upload any more. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely Christmas, even though I'll probably upload this after Christmas. But yeah, bye!